Hello, great to see you. Hello, Betsy Fulford, Music Director of Washington Rebels. Glad you're here today. Hello, Michelle. Great to see you. Coming in from Maryland. Hello, Karen in Arizona. Hello, Rick Paglieri, one of our singers for the Archive Week. Glad you're here today. Hello, Doug, coming in from Vermont. Great to see you. Hello to Kathleen in Albuquerque. Great to see you. And Kathy in Virginia. Hello. And Adele. Hello. Nice to see you. Hello, Jane. Glad you're with us again today. Hi, Sheila in Florida and David in upstate New York. Bonnie in Idaho. Hello. Alan in Maryland or DC. Hello. Sandy in the Yukon. Great to see you. And Jamie in Victoria, BC. Glad you're here. Pam, great to see you today. Julie, hello. Harriet in Chicago. Hello. Debbie, hello. Nice to see you. Kevin coming in from New Hampshire. Glad you're with us again today. Hi, Sandy. Hello, Ida. Nice to see a little one in the room again. Great to see you. Ida's in Cambridge. Hello, Dan in Virginia. And Fred in Maryland. Beryl in Chicago. Lisa in Indiana. Lynn in Connecticut. Janet in Georgia. Nancy's Irish Cow in Washington State. Marion in Connecticut. Dennis in BC. Nice to see you, Dennis Donnelly. Sid, nice to see you. And lots of folks off video. Elise, also one of our artists performing this week in the Archive Challenge, Elise Witt. And Ellen and Kachina and Jody and Sandy and Gwen and lots of other folks coming in, videos off or not connected yet to audio, but we're glad you're here. Hello also to everybody out there on Facebook Live, including Mary from Omaha, who joins us every day out there. Thank you so much for being here, and welcome officially to the Washington Rebels Carpe Diem Arts Daily Antidote of Song. It is another happy day. Who knows what day it is, but it's a day in the week, or it's the weekend. I don't even know. It is noon. That much I do know. It is noon because we are here every single day at noon. This is our 227th day. Yesterday we surpassed 70,000 views, and we are so happy to be in this room every day singing with this amazing community that has formed during these COVID and otherwise strange and unusual and definitely tough times. So thank goodness for the music in here that's keeping us all together. So excited today to be able to sing again during our special Archive Challenge week. This is our second one. We did one in September. We're here now for our November one. And co-hosting with me all week are Steve Winnick and Jennifer Cutting, who are amazing co-hosts and absolute fountains of knowledge when it comes to ethnomusicology and folklore stuff that they will be sharing with us about the music and about the songwriters and the recordings and the history. Couple quick notes. The lyrics will be in the chat. There's a donate link in the chat. All of the money that comes into this program goes directly to the performing artists who are leading us in song. So thank you so much for your donations. You are exactly what is keeping this going. My email is also in the chat. You can either email me or you can chat me. If you want to be on our daily antidote list and you are not yet, you can do that by getting in touch with me. And finally, I want to thank Binta Kulabali, who is our tech host in the room for the day. Thank you so much, Binta. Great to see your smile. And Steve, I am turning it over to you. Can't wait to hear you welcome IE and to get to hear him play.
All right, thanks so much, Joe. And so, as Joe mentioned, for this week we're teaming up between the Daily Antidote of Song and the American Folklife Center at the Library of Congress, where we have a great archive of traditional music. It's an archive that features a lot of performers that most Americans are familiar with, people like Leadbelly and Muddy Waters, and Almeda Riddle and tons of other folks that we'll talk about some of them after I sings. But for many years, really going back to the early days of the archive, folk performers, but also popular performers of all kinds, have used the recordings in the archive to inspire their own creative work and to just play versions of material from the archive. So just as a few examples, probably the best known piece of American classical music is the hoedown section of the ballet Rodeo, which was written by Aaron Copland, and which comes directly from a fiddle tune in our archive, William Stepp playing Bonaparte's Retreat. He saw a transcription of that, and he went ahead and wrote it down and, scored it for 40 40 violins and a xylophone. It's a a great piece, and everyone knows it. It's one of those things that if you heard it, you'd immediately recognize that piece. And just as another example, the great song Rock Island Line has been covered by practically everyone since it was recorded in the field by John and Alan Lomax with Leadbelly, who was their field assistant on that trip. Leadbelly learned it and he played it, and it's like the first track on Johnny Cash's first LP, just as an example of one person who's covered it, but millions of people have done that song. So those are the kinds of things we have in the archive, and back in 2015, it occurred to us it was going to be Alan Lomax's centennial in 2015. He was born in 1915, and it occurred to us that it would be cool to sort of encourage this kind of work directly rather than just waiting for it to happen, right? And so we came up with this idea of the Archive Challenge, which is to directly ask musicians to learn a piece from the archive or adapt it and perform it. And we started doing this at the Folk Alliance International meetings. And so the first one was in 2015, and then we took it from there. And we've since spun this into various different versions. So we now have a version that's on stage at the Coolidge Auditorium at the Library of Congress. And we have other versions too. We invite people into the archive after hours to perform in the reading room. So we've done that. We did that just once, and then the library got shut down by the pandemic. And so when that happened, we started to think, well, how can we continue this process? And we came up with the idea of the at-home archive challenge, which is that people make videos of themselves and share them on social media with a hashtag. And there's a URL that you can go to with a blog that will tell you how to do that. So we'll post that into the chat. But one other thing that we came up with was talking to our good friend Joe Rossi. So Joe, of course, runs the Daily Antidote of Song for Washington Revels and Carpe Diem Arts. But years ago, when I first got to the Library of Congress to work there, Joe was my colleague in the American Folklife Center. She worked there as well. And so we're buddies and we talk all the time. And we came up with the idea of doing this during the Daily Antidote and getting musicians to play these things, songs from the archive during the Daily Antidote. And so we've gotten some new people in, and we've also contacted some people who performed in the Archive Challenge in other forms, and I is one of those artists. I performed in our Archive Challenge showcase at Folk Alliance in 2017. We were really impressed with his performance, but also just in general, we're really happy to have sort of watched his career since then, because he's had a lot of awards and distinctions since then as well. But he is from Brampton, Ontario, which makes him the second Ontario person we've had in 2 days. We had Judith yesterday from Toronto. So we're continuing that little trend of 100% Canadian content for at least 2 days. So that's always nice. And I is going to perform for us Wayfaring Stranger, which is a song that we have a lot of versions of in the archive. So I'm going to just introduce I right now, let him talk a little bit about the song, and then play it. So again, from Brampton, Ontario, he's a Juno nominee and an award winner of various other awards which have come since our first introduction to him in 2017. So we're very proud to present I.
Hey, good day, everybody. How you guys doing? So I'm like they said, I'm from Toronto. I'm from Brampton. I live in Toronto now, and so I'm doing. People call it so many different things: Wayfaring Stranger, Poor Wayfaring Stranger. I am a poor. I know it as Poor Wayfaring Stranger, and I've known the song my whole life, but you don't really know why you know the song or where you know it from. And when they asked me to do the archive challenge, I went through all their catalog of songs in the archive that was available to us. And I saw this song, I'm like, I'm doing this one. I know I'm doing it. But the version I heard was by a female named Jean Ricci. And I've never heard her version before. And it's very like stripped. I think it was just her, it was a cappella. I'm pretty sure it was a cappella. And then immediately after that, I went and listened to every version of the song I could possibly find. And my favorite one was the Dolly Parton version. I don't know if anybody heard the Dolly Parton version. It's she's an amazing songwriter, singer. And I semi-modeled the version that I performed at the FAI Folk Alliance International after the Dolly Parton version. But it's a classic song, traditional song, and I'm gonna teach it to you guys. I'm gonna teach the chorus to you guys. So don't worry, you don't gotta learn a whole bunch of words. And we're gonna try it out first. So you guys up for this? You guys ready for this? All right, I'm gonna turn this on real quick. All right. So I'm just gonna sing the chorus straight through, and then we're gonna do it line by line together, right? I'm going there to see my mother. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just a going over Jordan. I'm just a going over. Is that all right? All right, so try it again. So it goes, I'm going there to see my mother. Okay, you guys try it. I can't hear you, but it's okay, try it. All right. I'm going there, no more to roam. Your turn. I followed you. I'm just a going over Jordan. I'm just a going over home. It's so weird. Like, all of you guys are muted, but when I watch you sing, I can hear you in my head. You sound wonderful. Don't worry. So, okay. So we're gonna all sing it together again and just try to keep up. Okay. I'm going there to see my mother. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just a going over Jordan. I'm just a going over home. Give yourself a round of applause. It sounds amazing. All right, so if you're really, really ambitious, on the second verse, we're going to say, I'm going there to see my father. And everything else is the same, right? First time we say mother, second time we say father. I don't know if that was in the original, but I felt bad leaving my father out of this equation. So I made sure it was in there, okay? All right. So let's try this. So you'll know exactly. So the line that's going to lead into it, I'll give you an expressive expressive sign to come in. But it's going to say, in this bright world to which I go. Let me all come in here. I'm going there. All right? And sing your heart out. Annoy everybody in your house right now, okay? And we'll talk about, I guess we're going to talk about the song after. So I won't go too much into my emotional connection to the song, but we'll go right into it now. I am a poor, wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world alone. There's no sickness, no toil or danger in this bright world to which I go. Here we go. I'm going there to see my mother. I'm going there, no more to roam. Jordan. I'm just a going. Oh, I know dark clouds will gather around me. I know my path will always be redeemed. The golden fields lay out before me. God's redeemed, no more shall we. Here we go. I'm going there to see my Father. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just a going over Jordan. Just a going, I'm just a going over. One more time, come on, everybody. I'm just a going over. Give me all your sorrow, come on. I'm just a going over. I'm just a going over. I'm just a going over. I'm going there to see my father or mother. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just a going over Jordan. I'm just a going over. I am a poor wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world of
Woo! AHI, that was amazing. Thank you so much. Oh my God. I'm excited now to have this sing through again at the end. I gotta say, that was a lot of power in that voice and in that. Cannot wait to hear about the emotional connections. Steve Winnick, I'm turning it back to you.
All right. Well, thanks so much for that. That was beautiful. And as Joe says, the power in your voice, the power in your guitar, it's wonderful to hear. And that's the kind of thing we love. We love to have people take our songs from our archive and make them your own. One thing that's interesting to me is at the Archive Challenge in 2017, you mentioned that when you first were thinking of doing the Archive Challenge, you thought, okay, you'll do a Son House song because we have recordings of Son House, and then you changed your mind and chose this one instead. So what was behind that? Like, why did you feel the connection so much with this song?
I mean, Son House is my favorite blues. Well, B.B. King is the first person to introduce me to the blues. When I was real young, I had this black and yellow tape that I was like 4 years old, carrying this around everywhere. So B.B. King is my first introduction. But Son House, when I became a little more mature in the blues scene, Son House was like, I just really appreciated the way he spoke, the way he like, there's some archival footage of him talking and just talking about the blues, and he's just a brilliant mind, you know what I mean? So I really appreciated him. So that was like a given. But then I saw this song, and I was like, this is me. Like if I had an anthem other than any song I wrote, it would be a song like this, because, I grew up I'm a pretty normal dude, but I grew up in a predominantly Portuguese area, you know what I mean, in Brampton. And in many cases, I was the only black person on my soccer team, on my sports team. Very rare, you know what I mean? I may have had like one black friend every year, if it's cool. So just by virtue of being an outsider, you feel like you don't belong in this world. And then in my family, I'm the youngest in my family. All my siblings, I don't really follow astrology, but I think there's something to it. They're all Pisces, and I'm the only one who's not a Pisces. But in my family, I was like the black sheep of the family. So I always felt like, an outsider. And this song kind of gives you this hope of if you are an outsider, if you are on the fringe, if you are on, you feel excluded sometimes, it makes you feel like there's something more for you. And I've lived my life based off of that philosophy that there's more to life. You know what I mean? And there's greater things on the other side of your struggles. There's greater things. So, we can even talk about right now, this whole pandemic, quarantine stuff. It's been a hot mess all over the world. It's been handled poorly. But I do believe that if you're working through this and keeping yourself above water, you're going to come out on the other side stronger than you were before. You know what I mean? I sincerely believe that. You know what I mean? And we're all here. We're all still participating in music. And I think that's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
A lot of negative people out there. So this song gives me, it's a very heavy song, but it gives me a lot of hope and a lot of courage and a lot of strength, you know what I mean, in this world. So.
All right. Well, one thing that that I'll say just for the folks who are listening to us, I was looking at some of the stuff that you've done since 2017, and one of the things I came across was your version of "No Woman, No Cry," and there's a little story behind that too. Would you care to tell people about your? I mean, I know Bob Marley was one of your early influences, of course, and that song was just one you did such a great job on. So
yeah, so Bob Marley for me is like the penultimate musician, like songwriter, singer. He's just my favorite, and my mother's favorite song by him is "No Woman, No Cry." So I did a cover. My wife and I, my daughter. Now we have 4 children, but at the time it was just me, my wife, and my daughter. We were living in London, England, and trying to make a career for ourselves in London, England. And we would do these little sessions. We just set up our camera, and my wife would be behind the camera, and I'd play. And sometimes we just have it on a tripod, and my wife would play the viola, and my daughter would sit quietly in the stroller, and we just play songs in these very beautiful places in London. So we were in Oxford Circus. We set up shop on a stoop in a nice area, and I was performing this, trying to sing the song. My wife's behind the camera, and every time I was singing, my daughter would let me start. This is probably better. I apologize for that. You had that the whole time. And my daughter was, she was singing along because as I was learning it, she was learning it as well. She was 3 years old at the time, and she was singing along every take I was doing. And technically, in my mind at the time, she was ruining every take, right? So you could hear her in the background singing like, we can't use this. And because my voice is very raspy when I sing, I would say to my wife, look, man, I have one more good take in me. I can't try another one. Just let her come in the video, right? And at that time, I was so against father-daughter stuff, like father-daughter, because it was around the time when father-daughter videos on YouTube were everything. And I was like, I don't want to do this, but I have no choice because we're just going to waste our whole day here. So I put her in the video, and we sang it together, right? And at that time, it became my most viewed video. It went crazy. I don't know how it's at right now, but what ended up happening is the official Bob Marley estate posted it on their website and on their social media stuff, and it just started growing and growing and growing. And I was like refreshing my Facebook page, and I was getting more followers every time I refreshed it, more views every time I refreshed it. And Rita Marley, who's Bob Marley's widow, she actually reached out to me and said how much she appreciated it. And that was like the only thing better than Rita Marley reaching out to me would be Bob Marley coming back from the dead and saying,
right.
Thank you for doing it.
Right. Well, yeah, I just thought that was such a great story with Rita Marley's involvement that I take a side trip into that song. So, folks, you can Google "No Woman, No Cry." You'll find the video that he's talking about with his little daughter in it. It's adorable, and it's a great version of the song too. So, yeah. So it turned out to be a good decision to do the father-daughter thing.
She'll have that memory forever. You know what I mean? So,
right. Right. Definitely. So, so you mentioned Jean Ritchie's version, and Jean was a person who was very special to us at the archive. She, at the version that you heard was probably one that was recorded by Alan Lomax from Jean Ritchie. Jean herself was a great collector, and we have her collection at the archive as well. And one of the things that was very, just serendipity about Jean is that her husband was a great filmmaker and photographer. And so in her collection, there's not only these great recordings of her, but there's great photos of her as well. And in addition to that, Jean was a collector, and she collected all over the world, but primarily in the U.S. and then in Britain and Ireland, and we have great collections from her as well, audio collections. But we wanted to play for people a little clip of Jean's version of Poor Wayfaring Stranger, and maybe see a picture of Gene as well. Minta, can we get those? Yeah. So this, So this is Gene with Woody Guthrie at backstage at a radio show. But we have, like I said, we have tons of pictures of Gene because her husband was a great photographer. So
Oh, my friend, stranger. I am a fool, my friend, stranger, a traveling through this world of woe. But there's no sickness, toil, or danger in that bright world in which I go. I'm going back to see my mother. I'm going back no more to New York. I'm just a going over journey. I'm just a going over. I know.
so so Jean Ritchie with her with a verse of "Poor Wayfaring Stranger." So we just thought we'd play that for everyone, so they would get a sense of what it was that I was hearing when he decided to arrange this song in an archival version. As you said, you knew the song your entire life, but you then got Gene Ritchie's version. So what was your sort of process for arranging that once you'd heard Gene's version?
I think it was just find someone online who did it as well, and just steal it. No, I brought something like for me. I try to simplify the chords as much as possible. Just it's a very basic song though, but for me it was about bringing that haunting feeling to it. You know what I mean? The emotion. Like I think that's like it brings you to a very like heavy time, and I don't know if she meant the song to be that heavy. You know what I mean? But for me, it just feels so heavy, and I feel the burden in that song. So I wanted my voice to be forefront in that song, and to really convey that burden. You know what I mean? That she's feeling. At least that I think she's feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, thanks. I should say that we want to thank our partners at the Association for Cultural Equity for putting that recording of Gene Ritchie online. They are Alan Lomax's foundation, which he set up before he died, and they continue to do great work in keeping these recordings available for everyone. So you can find those at culturalequity.org. And another thing I'll mention is the archive partners with other folks as well. And we have most of Lomax's Kentucky recordings online at a separate website, which we can also post in the chat. And actually, it is posted in the chat already, the Lomax Kentucky recording site. And I mention that because if you go there and search for the word Wayfaring, you'll find a few versions of this. And one thing that's kind of interesting there is it seems it was common when Lomax was collecting there for husbands and wives to sing this song together. So everyone in the community knew it. But when he was in someone's house, obviously the two people who were there were the husband and wife, and they often sang it together. So there's two versions in there of husband-wife duos. So I thought while we're all under the pandemic sort of semi-quarantine, it's good to know this is a song we can sing with our families. So give a listen to those as well. So thanks so much for being with us, and we always like to end this with another rendition of the song, with going through at least the chorus again for folks to go out singing. So once again, I is an award-winning singer-songwriter. We want you to keep listening to him. Find his material online. It's all in the chat. All the links are there. And he's a broad-based artist performing sometimes covers, a lot of his own songs. He's an award-winning songwriter, and he does some traditional songs as well. So once again, thank you so much for being with us. This was a beautiful version of a beautiful song, and let's hear it again.
Can I do one quick plug before we go to it? This Sunday, at around 8 p.m., I'm doing a Zoom concert. So it was a exclusive private invite only concert. So a lot of people already responded to me about it, but I'm going to invite all you guys to the concert as well. So the only way to get there is if you message my Facebook page or my Instagram page, whichever one you use, send me a message, say you're from the Archival Challenge and you want to come to the Zoom concert. It's on Sunday, this Sunday, 8 p.m. There's a login, I think around 7:30, but the show starts at 8 p.m. It's going to be an amazing show. I'm going to be doing a bunch of songs from my catalog. So if you want to come in, you have a free invitation to that. All right. All right. All right. Here we go. You guys ready? Well, so we'll do the chorus, okay? Because I think I messed up the second verse, unfortunately. We'll do chorus and out. So like we'll do a chorus and end like act like we're ending the song, okay? I'm going there to see my mother. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just a going over Jordan. I'm just a going over to my father. I'm going there to see my father. I'm going there, no more road. I'm just a going over Jordan. I'm just a going over. I'm just a going over. Come on, give me out. I'm just a going over. I'm just a going over. I'm just a going over. I am a poor wayfaring stranger traveling through this world.
Wow, that was so great. Thank
So
you
great.
so much. Absolutely amazing. Can we all please give a big hand, a big quiet hand that he can actually
quiet hand.
hear? We know you can hear it. We know you can hear it. So I just want to say there were a few chats popping in of folks saying, but wait, he has to come back and sing the Bob Marley song in here sometime. So we're going to be sending you an invite to come back sometime in 2021 and hopefully share another song with us. And I'm glad to know you have a gig on Sunday, because I'm definitely going to try and be there, and I hope lots of folks in the room will meet me there, so we get to sing along a bit more with I.
The funny thing is, I didn't notice this until now. You know, I mentioned the Bob Marley song because it's such a great story, but Bob's on the chair behind you. We can actually see a Bob Marley LP behind you.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I didn't notice. That's really super. Yeah, your background is so cool. I love it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just shout a few more things very quickly. I want to say an enormous, huge happy birthday to Betsy Fulford, who's in the room with us, who is the music director of Washington Rebels. Happy birthday, Betsy. So glad to be able to celebrate your birthday and here with you. Oh, look, Karen in Arizona is like instant happy birthday background girl. Very nice. Wow, very impressive. Anybody else want to throw that in there too while we're waiting? I want to just also say that Steve and I, one of the projects we worked on together was at the Library of Congress, and it was the Seeger family. It was a concert, there was exhibits, there was like a symposium, and we started our Archive Challenge Week with Peggy Seeger in the room, and someone afterward, Bonnie, actually went and watched the video from the Seeger family concert and sent me a quote from Peggy Seeger right at the end of the symposium. It was actually over, the concert was over and the cameras were still rolling. And she stepped up to the microphone and she said the following thing: just remember, the world is divided into people who think they are right. So in a time where we have all been through a lot of tough stuff because of all of the folks in the world who may or may not think they are right. I just want to say it has absolutely been the music and this community that has kept us going. I know a lot of folks in this room email to tell me the same. All of you out there on Facebook, we know you're with us, and we're so glad we can do this as a way of making things feel better and working towards actually making things a little more right out there in the world. Thank you again so much. We cannot wait to sing with you again. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody on Facebook. Thanks, gang, for being with us.